Many of us learn about the terrible events of the Holocaust, but facts alone are not enough. It's so important to hear survivors' stories because they too speak for the millions of people who weren't permitted to tell theirs. Ivor Pearl is 82 and a survivor. In October 2014, I had the honour of meeting him and hearing about his life. He was born into a large family in Mokó, Hungary. Anti-Semitism affected Jewish people there for generations.
It was like an ongoing thing, and it was part of life. I mean, I had to go to school. I had to practically walk the gauntlet, running the gauntlet. I mean, the last thing you did is go back home and tell your parents. And the police were the one who were causing all the problems.
The country was invaded in 1944, and they were forced to leave their home. Moved from ghetto to train and train to camp, the family were pushed apart.
You know what it depended, our life depended on? Instant decisions like that, choosing which way to go. I went to one of the groups, my brother went to another group, and my father went to a third group. And I've never seen my father since.
Ivor experienced the terrible conditions of Auschwitz and Dachau.
Out of my family, I told you there were 9 of us, 9 children, and two of my mother and father. So me and my brother survived. He saved me from the jaws of death, literally 3 times, definitely.
Trapped in the children's barracks where he sheltered from an air raid siren, Ivor was rescued by his brother Alec.
He said, come on Ivor, you got to come out from there. I said, no, I can't, I'm scared. They found out that he tried to escape or something, you're going to be punished bad. I was literally scared. I said, no, come on, you must come out with me. And eventually he took me out. The following morning he woke up and the whole children's block was empty. All the children taken to the gas chamber.
Some things are too cruel to comprehend. He helped him escape the camp hospital, a dreadful place where he was ill with typhus. There was no proper treatment, and had he remained, there was little hope of recovery.
If he wouldn't have been there to help me out, I wouldn't have been obviously alive.
Ivor was 12 and a half at the time.
When I saw my granddaughter, you know what a bat mitzvah is?
Yeah.
Well, she was celebrating the bat mitzvah, she was 12 years old. I said, you know something, I was 12, that was the age I was when I was taken to Auschwitz.
In March 1944, there were 700,000 Jews in Hungary, and within 4 months, over half were killed.
Because, I mean, the figures that you're talking about are so enormous, are so horrendous, that it's very hard to comprehend.
One of the most frightening things is the terrible disconnect between the orders being given and the lives they affected.
Have you heard of the Wannsee Agreement? And that's when they come together, a meeting like we have here with cakes and tea, discussing how to dispose of people. What I keep saying is, I fear people more than God. That a day does not go by without some association that happens, whatever it is, of my background. But fortunately, I don't look upon it. Well, I just live.
After the war ended in 1945, Ivor and his brother emigrated to England.
I've had 2 very, very lucky strokes experience in my life. Number 1, to have survived the Holocaust, and number 2, to have chosen England to be my country. Not only did I feel safe, I felt very, very elated. Honest and truly, I felt I've arrived in heaven.
After arriving in England, Ivor built a life for himself.
I had my own business before I could even read or write or speak English. As soon as we can stand and walk, you have to go and start earning a living.
Ivor has 4 children and 6 grandchildren. His home is filled with family photographs. He has given talks at schools and religious centres about his experiences, but it took years before he was able to talk about the Holocaust, even with his own family.
My wife saying to me that, you know, Ivor, why don't you do something? I managed to get a computer. Said, sit down and sort of tell your story to your children, because I never spoke about it to my children.
He documented his story for them, and it has now reached many other people and touched their lives. Talking about it can be painful, provoking questions that can't be answered.
What has it helped? What has the world learned since 1945? How would I behave if I would have been the Gentile? One week we should be friends playing with us, and the second week they were herding us into a ghetto.
Although, as Ivor says, there will never be another Holocaust, conflict and cruelty continue to happen, and remembrance is so important.
All I can do is talk about, experience what happened, and to tell whoever wants to listen what happens to people who follow that route. And it's like somebody said, you know what, even if there's only one person who has heard either me or somebody else's story and makes a difference, I mean, that alone would be worth to have spoken about it.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is not to sort of answer hate with hate. It's happened, it's happening, and possibly the human spirit will survive, I hope.